Welcome
Good
to the
evening. Good
Primo's
evening, Mel.
Musings
Hi,
podcast.
Sri.
How are you, sir? How are you doing, and where are you now?
I'm in Deer Creek State Park in Ohio. I'm actually in my tent, and it's raining here. So good to be in a dry tent.
Perfect. I think I read through all the blogs right from the day at the museum where you guys went through University of Pittsburgh all the way to Wheeling, and then your amazing the part where you are doing the cooking, which I think we're all going to expect when you're back in Connecticut. But wanted to hear your journey. I think between from Pittsburgh all the way to Wheeling. Excellent. Like I was reading through the blog, and you kind of gave me like a tour through all these three states. So wanted to hear your commentary on each of these areas, especially the one you talked about, University of Pittsburgh, and your friend actually went in front of a blackboard. It's pretty it's interesting with all the blackboard and him, designing rockets for the moon as well. Uh, Go at it, Mel.
Yeah. So we've covered about 250 miles since I last spoke to you in Pittsburgh. Actually, on the morning that we left Pittsburgh, the husband and wife who own the Traveler's Rest, which is the hostel that we stayed at, asked
Mhm.
me to do a video. So I did a video. It's now on Instagram on the Adventure Cycling Association promo for the Traveler's Rest, which was that beautiful hostel that I told you about we stayed at. And then we crossed the Ohio River into West Virginia, climbing hills all the way, and spent the night in Wheeling in a church, in a gym. Slept on the floor of a gym in a church, all 14 of us, and it was quite the lucky break for us because as we arrived in Wheeling and all got settled in the gym, they had torrential thunderstorms with considerable damage in the region and a few deaths, unfortunately. And thank God we were not in tents because it would have been a real hazard to be in a tent through those conditions. So that's part of kind of the experience of going riding on a bicycle in the outdoors and also camping. So we got to Wheeling. Wheeling, by the way, is a beautiful city with a lot of interesting history and architecture. There was some great fish market there and a couple of other great candy store and a beautiful flower shop, and there was many beautiful churches. So
Mhm.
interesting. It sits right on the um, Ohio River. We followed the Ohio River from Pittsburgh all the way to Wheeling, actually. For my first time in West Virginia, interestingly enough. And then we left Wheeling and crossed again the Ohio River into Ohio. And we've been 3 days now cycling in Ohio. Um, Yesterday was a relatively easy day. Caught a lot of wind, headwinds, 20, 30 mile an hour gusts, but only about 59 miles. So it seemed like a kind of almost like an off day. The day before, we had 67 miles, 45
Mhm.
feet of climbing, and high 70s temperature, and it was brutal. It was difficult.
Wow.
It was one of those days when you say to yourself, "What am I doing trying to ride my bicycle across the country?" You question yourself, but you're in it for the long haul. Thank God I'm healthy and I'm able to get it done. But that was a tough day. And at the 60-mile mark, after climbing a hill of about a mile and a half length on a very busy road, Route 40, which was one of the old major highways that crosses the United States, I got a flat. So just to add to the insulting experience of riding in high 70s.
To all the craziness that's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's been our journey
Yeah.
since we left Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
Ohio is beautiful. There's
So
farms. Go ahead. You have a question. Can you hear me?
no, 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 no. I think continue. I think I heard in one of the blogs you did talk about the country roads. John Denver, one of my favorite artists. So I thought it was very nice that you mentioned about the country roads and Wheeling is. I've been to Wheeling. It's a beautiful place, and I've seen that a place, and it's beautiful hills and everything like that. But I couldn't imagine going through hills. Couple of things that you did talk about this beautiful sunrise over the Seneca Lake in Ohio, where I think you had to cook too. I think that day.
I did.
So, and you said you did get up before the sun even rose, and I saw the pictures that you had posted, and it was just breathtaking. And I think looks like you guys went through like about 67 miles on all these rolling farmlands and things like that. But how was the humidity and also you talked about the winds a little bit, but how was the humidity overall so far in your ride?
We've had, I would say, not considerable humidity, although we've had some massive thunderstorms. On the 67-mile day, I spent the last 5 miles of the trip riding in torrential rain. Came into camp completely soaked, my brother and I, just wet to the bone and cold. So,
Hmm. Wow.
so far, I don't think the humidity has been a big issue. I'm sure it'll get worse.
I saw that. I read that.
Yeah. What was the other thing I was going to mention to you that we on that long day? What was I going to? Oh, so we were seeing interesting architecture,
Yeah.
farm, silos and
Yeah, I did see
barn.
the one of the items that you said you were soaked.
Yeah, very just completely soaked. Right, the rain just went right through all of my. I didn't have my best rain gear for whatever reason. I had decided to
Yeah.
leave that in.
Talk a little bit about the antique shop. You talked. I think maybe it was the after the Seneca Lake from when you started from Seneca Lake. You did mention about um, the gazebo
Yes.
built by some of the Boy Scouts. I think, and then you talked about the antique shop. Anything interesting you saw there?
Yeah, so it was what was most interesting about it. Not it was kind of a quirky little, almost like used furniture and knickknack shop. They called it an antique shop. I think if you were in the Berkshires, they might turn their noses down on such a thing as calling it an antique shop. But it was what was most uh, amazing about it is that when one of our riders, Ev, who lives in Landers, Wyoming, walked into the shop really to find out if she could use their bathroom. Not only did the purveyor say, "Sure, you can use my bathroom," and when she said, "Well, where do we get water?" he turned around and pulled out of the refrigerator bottles of water for every one of the riders, and here for free. Didn't ask for a dime and just handed it over to us. And I think that's kind of symbolic of what I'm feeling about America.
Yeah.
People are good. People are charitable when they hear our stories that about the fact that we're riding across the country. Everybody wants to talk to you and hear about it, and they're
Wow.
impressed with it. They ask a lot
Yeah.
of questions, and that feels really good. You feel like you're doing more than just riding a bicycle.
Your connection keeps going in and out. I think.
Oh, that's too bad because we have a tough. Yeah,
Yes.
maybe we should cut off the video.
Yeah. Yeah. You're breaking in and out, but I think from what you were. Yeah. Go ahead,
I,
Mel.
well, I just cut off the video. Maybe that'll help. Is that any better? Oh, I think we've lost each other.
That,
Can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay. You can hear me? So, anyways,
No, I'm actually glad you said that. No, that's me too. Because I think because of video, I think audio is helping. I think, but I think to your point, yeah, I can hear you.
okay.
No, I can hear you.
Good. Good.
I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Yep, I can hear you. I
Good.
can hear you.
Good.
Well, I think you kind of talked about people are good, and I think that's an amazing thing to hear. It's a good story for a lot of people across the world who kind of talk about, uh, you know, So I think really. So a couple of things that I wanted to ask you. What's the thing that how has this journey changed your perspective in general in life? I mean, I think you kind of alluded to it, but anything else you want to add to it?
Yeah. I think it makes me really appreciate the breadth and diversity of America in terms of its landscape. The landscape is consistently changing very subtly from mountains in Pennsylvania and
Mhm.
West Virginia to much more rolling farmland in Ohio. Um, the skies seem to change a little bit. You can see much more of the sky here than we could in Pennsylvania, where we were often riding in forests. Here, the land is you know,
Wow.
agricultural based. So you have big skies and you see long distances. So when we see a thunderstorm off in the distance, I mentioned it in one of my blogs, you can see for 30 or 40 miles and you might see thunderstorms way.
Right, you did.
And it's interesting to see those things come your way. And then I think, I'm most observing is that while the people, they may look a little different, maybe they dress a little
Mm,
different, I think that they're all very much the same. They're
yeah,
same in the way that they're trying to feed their families, same in the way that they are working hard, taking care of their property. We see people mowing their lawn. We see people with dogs. We see, animals, horses and cows. Yeah, I feel very blessed to see the country at 12 miles an hour, if,
yeah,
rolling along, and I know it'll continue to change. We have another day and a half in Ohio, and then we'll be in Indiana. I'm sure that'll have its own personality, if you will. So that's really, to me, I think the real gift of being able to do this is seeing,
yeah,
particularly how slowly we experience it on a bicycle. You can drive across the country, and I've done that.
right.
But when you're often driving on interstates, we're not on interstates. We're on back roads. We're going through tiny little villages. Some towns look like they've been hit hard by the changes in our economy. Other towns look like they're doing okay.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention is that on the evening that I was cook crew at Seneca Lake, a lot of the folks here go into their
yeah.
early. And
I think there's a microcosm of like the way you were thinking. I think I want everybody to hear what you just said. The last 2 to 3 minutes,
am I? Are you there still?
right?
Yeah, we're breaking up, I think, a little bit.
Sorry, I think I might have lost you, but I think what Mel was kind of alluding was that he was kind of talking about his experiences going through the country, going from Pennsylvania to Ohio. Oh, you're back now. Yep, yeah, I'm back. Yep, you're back. Yep, I was just like kind of giving a recap of your,
I actually could hear you.
yeah, a little bit. But I think, yeah, you said something. You were adding something, uh, something very, yeah.
Yeah, let me.
So,
Can you hear me?
yeah, you
I
can
wanted
hear
to
me.
say
Okay,
so.
that's fine. Yeah, so I can hear you too.
Yeah,
So
so
go ahead.
the night that I was cook crew, everyone.
Yeah,
Yep.
I can hear
Okay.
you
So the
fine.
night that I was cook crew in Seneca Lake, everybody goes off to bed pretty early. I tend to be
Hmm.
a late. I go to bed a little later than everybody, so I set up my chair on the edge of the lake and watch the sun and disappear, and then the light disappear, and just as the last moments of daylight were fading, a bald eagle flew
Wow.
across the lake, just about 20 feet above the lake, possibly heading toward its aviary, wherever it is in the distance. And it was, again, one of those moments that you say, it is good to be alive. It is good to be able to experience these things.
Amazing. That is, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that. You got to say that too. Uh, I know, but even I was just like, when I know we are going losing, but I think what you're talking about, your experience itself, it's like kind of talking about the people in general, kind of talking about how they are, managing on their own. Some towns being hit hard, some towns doing okay, and it's the same thing. And like you said, you kind of alluded to being blessed, and I think just hearing you talk about this is actually pretty inspiring as well. Well, I just wanted to have one more question. I know you have to go to sleep and you have a long ride ahead of you. What have you learned from about your limits and strength so far in the 600 miles you've done?
Yeah. I've learned that I am not as strong or as young as I was at one time. And yet, with all the years of experience of both camping and cycling, I have skills that allow me to compensate for what maybe age has taken ever so slightly in terms of strength and stamina. I have skills that get me through the day. That I know how to climb hills in a way that I can conserve energy and yet be working hard. I know how to work in the wind with other riders to make it easier. And and I know how to camp. I've been camping my whole life, and I know
Yeah.
how to stay dry when it's raining. I know how to be neat and organized so that I can get up early, because we get up very early and we got to pack up all our things and get on the bike. So I've learned that age does take away, but it also gives you skills and gifts that are very valuable.
Wow. No, that is really good to this one. I think you kind of sometimes you know your strengths, but I think you also get some hidden strength that you can use to plow through this, journey that you are doing cross country. So Mel, a couple of things though. I do think that if you can send me the Instagram link also of that Traveler's Rest that you did the video, I can attach it to the podcast as well. And then when is your next rest coming up?
We actually have 13 consecutive riding days. Our longest stretch of the ride will have crossed. The next time I have a day off, we will be in Kansas 2 weeks from yesterday. And we will have crossed the Mississippi River. So that's going to be a big leg of the journey.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think, keep me, obviously, I'll be reading through your blogs as well. And I'm pretty much caught up on all your blogs at this point. So exciting to see your uh, journey, through your eyes, especially like you said, 12 miles an hour. Seeing that, I can picture it. But I think, like you said, sometimes you have to experience it to actually kind of see the beauty of the people and the beauty of the nature as well. So thanks again for your time, and then now text me when you are in, as we get closer to Kansas, and obviously we're going through your blogs, and I will try to capture as much as possible on our next podcast. Basically, I know this was a long one, but I think this was a very good one where I know you were in a tent, but we somehow got it through despite the audio challenges we had a little bit here and there, but I think we got the whole thing through somehow.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
Great to talk to
again.
you.
Just
Great to
hang on a
talk
bit.
to you.
I'm going to do, yeah. Good night, Mel, and I'll publish it and I'll send you the link.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good night.
Good.
Thank you for listening. Primo will be back soon.